Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So a lot of you have been requesting me to do a tutorial on how I draw. It's really a wonder that you guys find my paintings and sketches so good that you request for a tutorial. I'm really flattered, thank you. But before I start, I just wanted to mention that I'm not a professional. This is just the process that goes through my mind whilst I paint. I'm just going to put that in words and hope it helps. So yeah, let's get started. First of all, the materials you will need are two pencils. I like to use two pencils, a sharp one with a thinner lead, which I'm showing you here. You can use anything that you have in your stationery collection. And then I also use a pencil with a blunt tip or a thicker lead. Again, you can use anything that is in your collection. The next thing you need will be an eraser, because as we all know, we need to erase our mistakes, and mistakes are inevitable. And then I also use a angled brush. You could use any brush. I prefer to use an angled brush to soften the lines wherever necessary and to soften the shadows wherever I feel necessary. The next thing I do is to trace out, the lines. They're not lines. Real images don't have lines, but we feel that we see lines. So those are the lines that you're gonna put, lines and curves, whatever you want to call them. So in most of my videos, you will see that I already have a light sketch going on. I did not trace it, I just draw it off camera, because that's a process which takes a lot of time, and I really observe the reference photograph and try to get the exact shapes and angles and curves and everything. So this is the part that requires a lot of practice. You're not gonna get this skill by watching this video or listening to me talk. There's no trick for that. You should only practice. The next tip here I wanted to give is that you apply really light pressure while drawing these lines. You don't put a lot of pressure on the paper, because first of all, it does not look good. It looks very harsh, which is not real in the real life, which does not look real basically. And then if you make a mistake, the softer line, which has no pressure, is easy to erase. This line, on the other hand, does not look good, and when you go and try and erase it, it leaves a mark, which you don't want. So after I've put this basic shape, so this is a 2D image that you have here. There is no shadow, no highlight, nothing. Once you've done that, now you want to add some shadows and depth to your sketch. Here I'm darkening the pupils and the shadows of the nose. Here I'm still using the pencil with a thinner lead, a pencil which is sharp, because I want a darker shadow, a more precise shadow, and this pencil helps in that. And for a more blown out shadow here, I'm using a pencil, the pencil with a thicker lead. This helps the shadow to be lighter and more softer. So I'm just looking at my reference photograph here and putting these softer shadows. Whoa, that was difficult to say. Here I'm putting the softer shadows wherever I feel are necessary or wherever I see them in the reference photograph. I'm doing that near her eyes, nose, cheekbones, her jawline, everywhere under the eyes, wherever I find those in the reference photograph again. That takes a long time because you don't want a shadow where there is no shadow. So I'm doing that here, and after I've put majority of the shadows, I'm going to take my angled brush and soften those shadows, because the shadows that I put with my pencil are not as soft and I just want a soft shadow, and it also fixes the graphite pigment to the paper. So yeah, next I'm going to draw the hair. I'm not very good at drawing hair, to be honest, but here I'm just lightly tracing the direction in which the hair is. I'm not adding any depth or highlights here. I'm just tracing the direction of the hair. After I've done that and I'm satisfied with how the hair is looking, I add the depth. I do not go to the highlight part. Highlight part comes next. I start adding depth to the hair. Here my pencil was not as dark, as black as I would like, and the regular pencil that I use for hair was missing. I'm sorry, you guys, but if you have a darker pencil, definitely use that for the darker portions of the hair. That will be a bit more black, and dark regions mean more depth, so it's going to give the painting, the sketch, more realistic effect. So if you have that, go ahead and use it. Here I'm just darkening the areas of the hair and leaving the highlight areas empty. So after I'm done putting darkening the hair, I just slightly put a transition between the darker areas and the highlighted areas. That just gives a natural effect, and I'm just going to draw the remainder of the hair. Now here I'm adding a bit more depth to her ear, her neck and décolleté area, and again blending it all with the brush so it is more softer and looks more realistic. Sorry for the lighting, you guys, the sun was coming out and going in. It was not a good time to film, but you can see what I'm doing, adding depth with the blunt pencil and softening it with the brush. I know I sound like a broken record, but that's what I do for the entire painting after drawing those lines, and that's basically it. And after that's the face almost done. Next I'm going to add some details to her dress and deepening her eyebrows right now, and just do that. Honestly, the shading part here is like really easy. The difficult part, in my opinion, is to get the basic shapes. The first outlines that I drew before, those are the tricky part. Once you have practiced and mastered that, the rest is fairly easy, and in my opinion, does not need a lot of practice, especially when you're doing a mono, like using two colors. Right here, it's just a black and white painting. I mean sketch. So when you have a black and white sketch, the shading I feel like does not need a lot of practice, but getting the basic shapes right and also observing where the actual shadow is really important. Here I'm adding some details to her dress and again softening the shadows wherever necessary.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you.
Here I'm adding some more details and deepening up the shadows, which I feel require, more depth. Again, following the same process, it's just like layering. Here I'm adding some details to the hair, sorry for the angle, and again deepening those shadows and again softening them. I just hope that you found this video helpful. If you have any other requests, then put it down below in the comments. I will try and answer them in some tutorial. Yeah, thanks for watching and I will see you all very soon.